debate is cool, but I like the word conversation better. And I feel like that is what we really need.
It's crazy how much division is in the United States right now, probably globally as well.
We all know today is like the thing that adults struggle with the most, that didn't have practice. You know, people with different opinions from you, and how to do that in a way that is not offensive or divisive. You know, it's so essential.
I tell them our job is to learn how to be better than the adults we see in the world today. You know, you're allowed to feel passionately about a topic, but you are not allowed to be disrespectful when you're talking passionately about your idea.
Teaching that skill that everybody is able to have their own opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree. I just feel like that's the real world right there.
I think it's up to the individual one to say, to think about what they have to say. And if they've deeply thought about what they have to say and they share it and someone else gets offended, maybe it's the other person's fault to say, hey, maybe I'm getting offended about something I don't need to be offended about, and to really be empathetic toward the other person who's trying their best.
I specifically try to pick some conversations that might be controversial or difficult. And I think it's important for us to practice with them and to model how to have very emotional conversations in a very productive and effective way.
On my wall, the students made a sign that says intellectual safety. And I say, remember, like, even when we challenge things, like, those are the things that we said that we don't want to do in this classroom, because we all shared at the beginning of the school year that when there is teasing and when there is racism and when there is body shaming and those kinds of things, which may come out in discussions unintentionally, that's when learning stops. And so it's important for them to say, hey, like, when I say something, you need to really be careful with what you say.
That, for me, is one of the hallmarks of great conversations, is the ability to listen ahead of responding.
It's conducive to continue conversation when there's disagreement or dissension.
That's how we make progress, is by having respectful, effective conversations.
We can talk about this thing that's hard, but we're still friends and we can still engage respectfully and care about each other. The more safe the environment is, the deeper people can get in those discussions too.
I also think, like, as young people, maybe it's not always a good idea to be so determinate and final about what your thoughts and ideas are. So I do feel like exploration is really where it's at.
My kids do a Genius Hour study, and it was really an interesting discussion, asking them what they thought was like the most impactful innovation. I had one student who was like, well, the wheel, and talked about the wheel and had done all this research. And then I had, kids that were like, well, my ear pods. It's like a low stakes way for them to provide feedback in a way that's not offensive. Like, you might not agree with the wheel. Well, what's your, counter? What are you going to claim? And how are you going to support that with evidence? This generation can learn this in school, then they can translate it to the future.